Hello, beautiful people of the world. Welcome to the Happy Conversation Idea Show, where you can witness thoughts, ideas, and stories of the happiest people. Have you ever wondered, and joy and happiness associate with anxiety? That's a good question. When we think about these two concepts, they seems to be oxymorons. But modern says is more complex than the familiar episode can carnage that we see that on the evening news or the on the internet. Stress and anxiety influences our children at the school. Stress affects our performance as an adults, influencing our work, our play, and our relationships too. So stress and anxiety. Let's hear from our special guest, Bibi Onsori, but I will give her a short description about her profile, which is very vast, but she can tell her more in her more introduction. Bibi is an anxiety, world-class anxiety coach who helps professional ends anxiety permanently. She understands the true suffering of her clients and people with anxiety because she lived at firsthand. We would like to know more. Bibi battled anxiety for 10 years and felt very alone because the help out there was just not enough to help her end the daily suffering of living with an anxiety disorder. Once Bibi was able to hear her anxiety, she decided to dedicate her life to helping others and their anxiety because she doesn't want anyone suffer like did that and become hopeless. But she's not hopeless now. It was in the past. So please welcome Bibi Onsori.
Hi. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure, my pleasure. And it is an honor and pleasure too to have you on our show.
Yes,
so
I'm
Bibi,
very excited to be here.
Yes, me too. So please tell us about your childhood story till now. How did you overcome your challenges and you become the world-class anxiety coach?
So, yeah, I had, really bad anxiety myself. I would say it started when I was in my 20s. And then, I had the phobia of getting cancer.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so I was always, checking my body and Googling symptoms. And so that was really my day and night. It was, I was always checking myself, and every day I had these obsessive thoughts about getting cancer. And so with a lot of obsessive thoughts came the anxiety. But I was what we refer to as a high functioning anxious person. So I was able to work, I was able to be perfectly normal on the outside. But on the inside, I was battling this really bad anxiety. And so, for 10 years, I went to probably 25 different professionals and probably spent $15,000, maybe more. Yeah. And still had anxiety. And so, my life was getting to a really bad place that I was thinking, okay, I wasn't going to kill myself, but I was thinking that, okay, I'm kind of like dead because I'm never in the moment. I'm always worrying about cancer. I'm always worrying about disease. And so finally I found a coach who helped me heal my anxiety, and she really knew what to do with anxiety. And it was in that moment that I really decided, and I used to be in the interior design world. And so it was in that moment that I decided I don't want to be doing design anymore. I wanted to dedicate my life to doing this work. And it was through that work that I realized, it went back to my childhood, the root of my anxiety from trauma from my childhood. And also a family member who I loved very much got cancer when I was quite young. And she got chemotherapy and she lost her hair. And it was very traumatic for me what I saw. And so I think, I put two and two together and just created this phobia and obsession for myself.
Oh, no, sorry to know that. And that's how long did it last that?
So yeah, I had pretty bad anxiety. I'm gonna say that I started anxiety probably at a young age, because I remember even when I would get sick, I would ask my mom, like, am I dying? Am I dying? And I was like really young. I was always thought even a cold means I'm dying. So everything was really extreme for me. But the actual intense years of my anxiety were about 10 years.
Oh, wow. That's a long period of
Yeah,
time.
it was a very long period, and it just life wasn't.
That very
Yeah,
pleasant and joyful.
no,
Yeah.
I was never present. I was always in my head. It was really dark. And so now, that I can do that for people, it means everything to me.
Fantastic. And we are so, so happy. And the world is so happy and thankful to you, what you do for the people and
Thank
all.
you.
Great. Now, there are a lot of saying, like thousands and thousands of case studies and thousands of answer on the Google and so on and all. Let's go basic and primary first. Tell me first, what is anxiety? How to recognize it? How to understand anxiety?
Hmm.
First, recognizing is the important thing, I believe so. How to recognize that someone has anxiety and how to understand it. And what's the first step? You don't need to tell full here because we're gonna ask in our the whole show. You can tell how to recognize it, how to understand it, and what's the first step one should take.
So anxiety is, it's obviously we have the fight or flight anxiety, which is our normal emotion, right? If you're going to go speak on stage or you're going to see a bear in front of you, obviously you want to have some sort of reaction to these things. And that's the healthy amount of anxiety. What
Okay.
starts to tap into the anxiety disorders is when you're obsessive now about things. Fears are happening. Everything is too much. Everything is exaggerated. Too much fear, too
Yeah.
much overthinking, too much nervousness, phobias. Then you could create OCD, everything that's heightened or obsessive, and it starts to pretty much take over your thought process, right?
Mhm.
So like if you see a bear, it's like a few minutes and you're like freaking out, but then you're good. Or if you're going to go speak on stage, you might be nervous just a few moments before, but when you're on stage, you're fine, right?
Yeah.
But anxiety is obviously it's the extent. Anxiety disorders are the extended versions of all that, and so they start to really rule your life. Like mine was.
Yeah.
Okay, nobody wants to get cancer, but it's not like you wake up all day, every day, think about it, right?
Yeah.
And so to recognize it, it's really to, notice that you're having obsessive thoughts or that you're overthinking or that you're afraid of something, but the fear is starting to control your life. That's a really good way. Then there's like the physical aspects of it. You can see certain situations give you heart palpitations, or you're not sleeping anymore, or you're not eating well suddenly, or you're not even hungry anymore, or you get sweaty palms. Those are all the ways to notice that there is something going on within you, because with anxiety disorders, it's very attached to the physical symptoms of the body as well, right?
Okay.
Because your thoughts will cause you emotions, and the emotions are going to cause you physical aspects of it.
So true. Yeah.
And so the first step would always be, it's a tough one because for people it's different. Some people, for me, I was the kind of person, I didn't care and I wanted to get help. Then there's
That's
the
it.
type of people who are very shy, or they're worried about the stigma around anxiety, or they're nervous, But if I had to share my advice, would be to definitely seek help, seek
Yes.
help, and just to have a casual conversation. And my biggest advice would be the person you're going to work with, ask them, have you ever had anxiety? Because there's a lot of professional help out there that are helping people with anxiety but have never had anxiety. So I don't know how a person who's never experienced it can help someone who's suffering from it.
So true. Well, that's great. That's a great basic steps you have told me how to recognize and understand and take the first step. Thanks so much for sharing that.
Yeah,
Now,
of course.
tell me, who suffer more from anxiety, a man or a woman or a children?
I think anxiety is so bad and it's so dark that it's so different for all. I think for children it has its own hardships because I guess as an adult maybe you know yourself more, at least you're
Yeah,
more familiar with who you are, but still, even as an adult, anxiety coming into your life can really make you lose yourself. In
true.
children, I think it is harder because they are not even sure who they are yet. They're still trying to figure out being human, what that even looks like. And then on top of it, you throw anxiety to them. But I think in the gist and in the big picture, all of it, it's so bad that young, old, man, woman, like whatever, it's just a big suffering. So I would say any person with anxiety truly suffers. And so have compassion for people with anxiety is so important.
Great. Well, thanks for sharing that. Now, we're living in a challenging time during the pandemic, and we've been suffering a lot of time. People are at home. I think personally that woman has a lot of toll on their health because, especially with the children. So, what is the role of anxiety in child raising?
I think with anxiety, I think parenthood is the hardest job in the world. I think it's the biggest responsibility. And I think it could bring on a lot of anxiety for parents, but also that, sure, you can have the healthy level of, being worried and nervous, but then there's like the type of parents who are obsessive, about their children and obsessive about something bad happening. And so not only do they drive themselves crazy, they drive the kids crazy.
True.
If it's something like that, I think, some help would be good. Just to get, I think it's so important to be grounded in life because bad things are going to happen whether you like it or not. The unknown is going to happen whether you like it or not. But if we're grounded as human beings, then we're not really fazed by what's happening around us and we have control of the situation.
Yeah, you're right. So what? Now, we live in the challenging time again since last year. A lot of people lost their job, and it's a challenging time, and people are worried about their security and finances and so on. But even before that, we heard a lot this common saying that most of the time people hate their job or they dislike their job. So working at the wrong job can cause also anxiety.
Yeah.
Now you have a lot of professionals you have been dealing and treating and giving your coaching service and all. So most of the time, this question is, so working at the wrong job can also cause an anxiety.
Working at the wrong job is...
And let me tell you once again, a wrong job is not that there is no right or wrong job, but most of the time people, they hate their job or they dislike.
Yeah.
For me, any job is a pride job. No job is a menial job.
Right.
So I prefer, I like that. Every job is a pride job. But most of the time people, they don't love their job or they dislike the job. So that can also cause an anxiety.
Yes. Well, I think, if we tap under that topic, under it is every day waking up and going to something you dislike or don't like, you're mistreating yourself. That's the part that causes problems for people. They're doing something that's against what they want to be doing, but they're also too fearful or too lazy to go after what they truly want because it's the unknown. And a lot of people rather be miserable than tap into the unknown.
Okay.
So for sure, that starts to bring on unhealthy behaviors. If you hate your job, and we're at our jobs most of the day, that's what we do. Most of our lives we're working, actually, sadly. But if you hate it, then, well, it becomes toxic. And that toxic environment for you can start to build anxiety and persistent growth for sure. 100%.
Okay, that's good. That's a great advice on that. I'm going to go back again, the previous topic on the family person. Now, how to deal with the person having anxiety attacks, and especially if that person is your partner who is suffering from anxiety. Now, one partner can be very healthy and happy and joyful, and the other partner can suffering an anxiety, but the other person start getting the panic attacks and all. How to deal with that?
Yeah, I can even talk about my own life because I had partners where I had crippling anxiety and they had no anxiety at all. And, it's very, very challenging because it's like you're not speaking the same language, right? Because if someone has never experienced anxiety, they can't even fathom how bad it is for the other person, right? So I think the most important thing is just to allow the other person, let them know you're there, tell them, I don't understand what's going on for you, but I'm here to support you regardless. It's just really being there for the other person because the thing is that you can't do so much for a person who's having panic attacks or anxiety it always starts with the person. The person has to want to get better. Like, you can't force your partner to go to therapy. You can't, right?
So true.
They have to want to. So you can show up for them and just say, you know, I'm here. If I can find you some great professional help, just tell me, give me the green light and I'll do it, you know. You can learn diaphragm breathing from YouTube, for example.
Yeah.
And when you see your partner's having a panic attack, sit them down and do this kind of breathing with them, you know, show that you're supporting them and you know how to breathe and you can calm them down. So I would say educating yourself about anxiety and how maybe in that moment you can help your partner is so powerful for the other person who's suffering.
Nice. Well, that's a great answer. I really appreciate that. And so also when in your early conversation, you said that you can only sleep and all. So is anxiety is one of the reason for not having a peaceful sleep? A lot of time people wake up in the middle of a night and they cannot go back to the bed. So what is that?
Yeah, if you have an anxiety disorder, for sure it taps into insomnia. It can ruin your sleep because also a lot of overthinking. Anxiety has overthinking in it, you know. You can obsess about something over and over and over again. So, you know, that's one reason people have a bad sleep. Another reason people have bad sleep at night is they have bad habits.
Yeah.
They're on their phone till they fall asleep. They're reading the news, which is fear injecting.
Yeah.
They have the TV running, you know, they have like 5 coffees during the day.
Wow.
So many aspects, right? There's so many factors that go into why a person is sleeping bad, especially if you have anxiety. You have to be 10 times more aware of these triggers.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. That's a brilliant answer, Bibi here. Now, what the drug companies won't tell a person about anxiety, because you are a coach, you don't give a prescription to your client, right? So what other drug companies won't tell a person about anxieties?
I'm personally against pharmaceuticals for anxiety or for anything. I always try to go the natural way. And even when I had anxiety, I remember I went to so much therapy and they wouldn't even ask about what type of anxiety I have before they would be giving me pills. I chose to never take pills, but I actually think that with the pills, some people have crippling anxiety and they cannot even function anymore. That's how bad their anxiety is. I think the drugs in that sense, which can bring the person kind of back to being to life, is fine. But, you know, they're band-aids. They do not heal the root cause of the problem, right? They make you feel good temporary. They stop the bleeding for a little bit. And then the blood starts to come out from under the band-aid. And so almost all my clients are on medication when they start my program. And, you know, but they still have anxiety. So when I'm on the phone, they're like, oh, I've been taking this pill for 12 years, but I'm still so anxious. Well, of course you are, because they don't heal the root cause of what's really going on. Why do you even have this kind of anxiety? So I think the drugs are great because they can make people sometimes function, but I think the drugs are bad because they're band-aids.
Okay, fair enough. That's why you are here, to let us know what is the natural way. And the natural way is always the natural way.
Always the best way, yes.
Best way, yeah. But it takes time, you know, because we are in this modern world that we want everything quick, instant. I just want to give a pill, give me injection. I want to get going all the work.
Well, we've become lazy, right? We've become lazy human beings. So
true. Yeah. Now, is caffeine, cola, alcohol, and smoking is also a reason for anxiety? No, I'm not going against all the good brands out there, but so it's just generally like, you know, caffeine, cola,
like sugary drinks and things like that. I think that these are all trigger points for people with anxiety. But again, if you go and work and heal the root cause of your anxiety and you're able to heal anxiety and end your anxiety, you can have a coffee sometimes. But if you're an anxious person and you haven't done the work, coffee's poison for you. Alcohol is poison for you, you know, because these are all things that make people jittery. And so when you're jittery, you overthink and you obsess and you make it worse.
What a brilliant answer. Yeah. So watch out, people out there. Make sure that you have a balance in your life about whatever you eat.
Be mindful.
mindful, and be have a healthy diet and happy diet. Yeah, that's good. Now, we live in the world because we have to please a lot of people, our spouse, our bosses and manager and all. Can we get anxious and anxiety by saying more yes or more no?
Well,
It's
I
kind of
think,
tricky question, but
yeah, but no,
but you must
it,
have. I know a lot of time you must have heard, like, saying yes, 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 and you cannot produce the results, and then you're piggybacking, you overload with your work. So, what do you think?
yeah,
Saying
I
more
think
yes can.
that's a really good question. I think no is the most powerful word. People who are always yes people, they lack limits and boundaries in their life. You know, if
Okay.
you're constantly saying yes, you're a people pleaser.
Yeah.
You lack self-respect. You don't have clear limits and boundaries, and you live for others.
Yeah. So true.
So it's very unhealthy. No is a very powerful word. And if you can't say no, you've got work to do, right? You've got to create those limits and boundaries in your life. And people who can't say no, there's fear behind it. So you got to go do some work and find out what's the fear behind saying no. You know, why is it such a scary word for you? Because when you're able to say no, you're actually showing up for yourself. You have self-value, you have self-respect, you have self-worth, or else you're a doormat. Yes, always. No.
Uh, no, don't become a doormat.
Yeah,
And most of the
no.
time, people, like, they have a fear of losing their job, fear of losing their spouse, and not having enough self-confidence enough to tap their inner giant mind, that which is unexplored, and they cannot even understand their own supernatural power inside, hiding inside that. So I think saying no and coming up with the best answer, in fact, they will grow more. I agree on that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. So aging should be a reward or a punishment?
I mean, this is so funny that you asked me this actually, because
Because now a lot of people say, "Oh, I'm growing older. I want to do this and this surgery and do a whole lot of millions of things out there on
right.
internet
And
and all."
I think if you want to make changes to your body and it makes you feel better, first of all, is it because you're trying to reach the beauty standards of what the world is trying to telling you to who to be, or no, you're a confident person and you wouldn't mind a little tweak here and there, right?
Mm-hmm.
But for me, I always say, I have so many friends that are in their mid 30s or they're turning in their 40s. And I think 40 is such a freaky number for people who are like 30 in their 30s. They're like, oh my God, I'm getting old. I'm turning 40. And I always think that, every year that I get to celebrate my birthday is such a blessing. Like, I don't care about the number, because I think in a world that life is in the now, and from the minute you wake up, something could go wrong and you could die, literally. Right? You made it to another birthday. You should be thanking God for that. You should be happy about that, rather than, saying I'm getting old. Like, there's young people who die at such a young age. They don't even get to be 12 or 20 or, so every year I think you get to blow a candle. I think it's an absolute blessing, and you should celebrate that, because you might not get to do it the next year. No one has written in a contract of a promise that you're going to be here.
Yeah. That's very challenging, but it's very hard to understand that point and to come with the conclusion and the best answers. And that's why you are here to help us. Now, what is more popular in trend, the health or the anxiety topics?
So anxiety has still a lot of stigma around it. So that's why, I'm on LinkedIn and I'm always preaching about anxiety and talking about my anxiety and how much it was bad for me. And I really try to shine light on anxiety. But, almost all my clients that I work with, they work for really good brands, amazing companies. They have really good roles, but they never want their name on a testimonial. They never want, there's a huge stigma still around in the world and in the business world, that if you're anxious, maybe like the limiting belief that you're weak, or, you're not suitable to the task, or, so a huge stigma still. And I think this year, thankfully, because of COVID, people started talking about mental health more in workplaces, but I think still such a long way to go.
Oh, wow. That's so true.
Yeah.
So true. Yeah. Now, tell us, what is the natural solution that can change stress and anxiety?
So the natural solution is doing the work, working with someone who knows how to deal with anxiety, knows how to deal with stress, and really getting to the bottom of why are you anxious? Why are you stressed? Like I always say, we were born as a blank canvas.
Yeah.
I don't believe you're born with anxiety. I personally don't believe anxiety is genetic. I don't care how many websites say that, because I've had way too many clients who told me, oh, my anxiety was genetic, and now they don't have anxiety. So what happened to the genes, right? So
Yeah.
I think it's a lot of monkey see, monkey do. Like one of your parents had it, you picked it up. But I think it's really important to do the work and find out. So if you're born as a blank canvas, what happened when that you decided to pick up anxiety? There's always a point of decision, and it's usually between the age of 4 to 13 that happens.
Yeah. So that's now. This is very wonderful. The point you highlighted is a very key point. Now, my concern and question is because most of the parents, spouses, they have argument, discussion, even a fight, and so on, and their kids are at home and all. What do you suggest, or what kind of suggestion or an advice would you give, like when specifically spouse they have argument and discussion and yelling and screaming and abusing each other and children are there? Should they do in a private and privacy, or they should involve a kid in that? Because children get very impacted in that, the age which you just said that. Like what is your suggestion on that?
I think, raising a child never comes with a manual. Everyone does the best that they can with the best that they know, right? And I think being a parent is one of the hardest jobs in the world. But at the same time, the message I would put out there is kids at that age are pretty much recording your every action, your every move, your every word. They're soaking it all in, and it's becoming a part of them. So parents have to be so mindful, something as simple as even your kid's crying and you laugh at your kid. Like it's something funny. The kids cry. Yeah. For you, it's funny, but for them in that moment, it's a traumatic moment. But you're like, it's not, oh my God, why are you crying? Something like that. I've worked with 60-year-old people who that's where their anxiety started.
Yeah. Wow.
So just being mindful that, our children are just
absorbing everything.
Yes. And that's not for a parent to go obsessive now and, become crazy over this thought, but just to be mindful, right? Be mindful when you can be.
No, that's a really great answer, being mindful, because you cannot control incident happen sometime in front of kids and spouse. They will not say, okay, give me a break. Let's go inside the next room and we will talk. Yeah.
So or having a very good conversation after it, right? Even if in that moment something happens, pull your kid aside and say, listen, me and daddy talked like this to each other because we were angry. Being angry is okay, but you shouldn't talk like that to people. I don't know. Give them something, a positive message, so you can change that mindset pattern in the child rather than leaving that traumatic one in there.
Yeah. And I think it will also improve their spouse more communication too, as well, if they are mindful and when they will hold their anger at that moment. Because this is what I usually do in my coaching and all. And I say, when you're angry, upset, or anxiety with your boss, your spouse, or anyone, take this. This is the strategy I give. I say, take 24 hours. Tell that person who you're mad with, say, I will get back to you in 24 hours. So after 24 hours, the bubble is gone, your heat is gone. And most of the time, you will realize that who was actually wrong. Most of the time, it is because of our vocabulary and our words makes other people hurt. And if it is that, then we will always be quiet. And if the second thing is that if the front person is wrong, he or she or your boss, then if he is wrong, why we should become the person what they are? It is he's in the fault, so let him be and suffer. Why I should take his burden of his anger and frustration and become myself and become anxiety?
Yeah.
So
yeah, you always have to protect your mindset and yourself. And like you said, sometimes if you have to take a time out for yourself to just cool down, to get grounded, you should do that.
I know. Yeah, but it's very hard. But I think this practice will definitely put person on a higher bracket of success in a personal and professional life, I believe.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. So what type of anxiety leads to happiness and success? Now, they are not all bad anxieties. You are the very professional in that.
No anxiety can lead someone to success. I mean,
so let me rephrase that, because sometimes disgust is also a very good thing in that person's life. Somebody's having anxiety, let's say in a job. I don't like, as we discussed earlier, I hate my job, I dislike my job, and he's anxiety and all. And one day he feel very disgust about that. And that in disgust moment, he makes the life-changing decision that he never thought about it, and he can get more successful. He breaks his boundaries, and he come out with a triumph.
So a person is anxious and then they hate their job and then they'll decide to quit their job?
Maybe, yeah. Disgust is disgust. One time, it's enough is enough. I don't want to be at this situation anymore. And at that time, you break the anxiety door and you say, go to the hell, anxiety. I don't care anymore and fear anymore. I will do the best in my life in a positive way. And I think that's the day the person can be born again and he can lead towards happiness again.
Yes, but that never just happens. So if a person even has anxiety and tries to be a champion and leave the job, the anxiety will show up somehow, somewhere else in the next job.
Okay.
Because negative situations are going to pop up in the next job. You're going to have a colleague you're not going to like in the next job. Your boss might be a jerk in the next job. Like there's always something. So again, the root cause of the anxiety, it's still going to be like pulsing. It might be quiet for a minute because you left that job. Now you're like, amazing. But you'll go into the new job and it'll show back up. The only way to really end your anxiety is to do the work. There's like this anxiety that someone feels, it always tracks down to something.
Okay, fair enough. Now, what is the joy of anxiety?
So the joy of anxiety is, I'll always say it too, I say that people who have anxiety, it can actually turn out to be a blessing. Okay, how and why? Anxiety sucks, obviously, yes. But I think you always have a choice, and the choice is to go after it or to live with it. Like it's very common for me to hear from on my first call with the clients, and they'll say, well, I just think I have to live with it forever. Okay, but why? Right? But I get it, because the help out there sucks. Also, people become hopeless. Like I went to 25 professionals. You think I'd give up, right? I'd be like, 10 years, 25 professionals, $15,000. I went to professionals in London, Italy, Iran, Canada. So I should have gotten hopeless, right? But I kept going, but not everyone's going to keep going. Some people are just going to say, that's it. Like, I have to live with this.
Yeah.
But if you go after it and do the work, your life will be 1,000 times more amazing than a person with no anxiety, because you're going to learn tools that the person without anxiety has no clue what they are.
Okay. That's wonderful. Now, at workplace, you deal with a lot of professional people. Is doing multiple things at the same time can also cause stress and anxiety and procrastination?
Procrastination for sure can. But, if you're a multitasker, then you're a multitasker. But even in work or even in multitasking or anything, if you can see, you can know that, am I procrastinating just today, or I procrastinate so much that I think about it all day and night? Then that's the problem.
Okay.
If you're multitasking a few things and they're all getting done, great. If you're multitasking a few things and nothing's getting properly done and you can't stop thinking, that's the problem, right? Yeah. So you have to be more mindful and aware of the patterns, and you'll know.
Okay. That's wonderful. Yeah. So planning, strategy, not overthinking, and getting the things done, due diligence. You can delegate some work. If you cannot do, you can give it to someone. rather than, what is more major and minors. A lot of time people spend major time in minor things and they get overexcited and they accomplish nothing at the end of the day. So I think, yeah, that's one of the reasons.
Yeah,
too.
that's why I love also when we talk about like working smart, right?
Yeah. So true. Working smart.
Working smart is so important.
Yeah, working hard and smart, I think it's a good combination. And hard work is always there. Like, I believe there is no such thing like hard work. It's just basic. People, we procrastination and we keep procrastination for day to day, 4 and 5 days. One day's procrastination can lead to be a burden of a week job. And then one week procrastination can lead into a month. So that can be overwhelming and burden on itself. But
the build up of that causes anxiety. Yeah.
Yeah. So if we can do, I have a sticky note on my desk. Do it now. It says, do it now. Do it now.
Yeah.
Don't procrastinate. Just let it done right away.
Yeah. I think it's really important for everyone to realize what their triggers are and work on them.
So true. So true. So seeking more money is stress, or do not know how to handle money is a stress?
Well, if you seek all the money in the world, but you don't know how to handle it, good luck to you. Like money management always first, right?
Yeah, yeah.
If you have $100 or $1 million, if you don't have money management, like good luck.
Okay, great. Well, let's do this second round we call Make the World Happy Round. So your short and sweet answer are highly appreciated, Bibi.
For sure.
Yeah. How to shift emotional gears?
How to shift emotional gears?
Yeah.
Don't put so much power on the emotion.
Okay, that's a very preeminent and profound answer.
You said short, I'm staying short.
Okay, no, you can elaborate wherever you like. It's your show, it's your question, so you can say whatever you like.
No, but it's true. Don't give so much power to an emotion.
Yeah. Okay, that's great. What makes you more happier to you, Bibi? The intellectual part of your life or the emotional part of your life?
Oh, I'm all about logic, so intellectual for sure.
Okay, there we go. Thanks so much. That's why, no doubt you're so intelligent. Okay, so who is the true teacher, the failure or the success?
Failure, always.
Why?
Because hard times teach us the best lessons. They're hard and they suck and they're intense and painful. But when there's failure, there's growth.
I know. Yeah, go ahead.
But success just feels good. So you're not going to dig deeper. But with failure, you have to.
Yeah, I know. But there are a lot of people, they will fail several times, but they will still not understand. So I feel very sorry for them. Yeah.
Yeah, that's that choice again, right?
I know. Yeah, that's the choice. So now we've been talking a lot about anxiety, stress and all. So I've just made one series, but you can always correct in order and all. What comes first? The procrastination, worry, stress, or anxiety?
I'm going to say procrastination can definitely cause worry. The worry can cause stress and the stress can cause anxiety.
Oh my God. So I thought I'm going to get stage. I did my research and study on my own personal life and also I've been coaching thousands and thousands of clients. I always tell procrastination is the root cause of anxiety. Indecision and procrastination will lead to anxiety.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
The buildup of that stress bring on anxiety for
worry,
sure.
Yeah. And fear too. Okay, now here, you have to choose only one.
Okay.
What what will you choose? Money, time, love, or sex?
Time.
Okay.
With time, I can have all of those things.
So intelligent. Oh my God. High five for that. Tell me one word or a sentence which can bring more joy and love to a relationship.
Patience.
Patience. Yay. I love it. Patience.
Yeah.
So is there a secret behind that?
I'm trying to discover it myself, but no, I think patience. I mean, I'm not very good with patience. but I'm practicing.
Practicing.
And I think in relationships, patience is really important.
Very important. Yeah, I agree. Patience and communication plays a big role.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's
I
why
think I chose, I think I agree with communication, but I think I chose patience because that's where I need work. I'm good at communicating. I'm not patient.
okay, well, that's good. So you take my suggestion, then think about 24 hours before you
Yeah,
say something.
exactly. That's why I love that. So true.
So true. And you will come up with a triumph and you will become more, and the pressure ball will be on the other person, not on you then.
Yes, exactly.
Good. Okay, move on. Next one. Never say that specific word or a sentence when a woman is angry.
Calm down. Oh,
Ah. Oh my God, you are my second special guest.
oh
There,
I hate it.
she was
Yeah.
another. She was actually a stress management strategist.
Calm
Herself too.
down. Like, no,
No,
don't say that.
don't say that to a woman. So
If
men
you want
out
to
there,
stay alive, don't say that.
men out there, my friends, never say calm down to a woman. I
No.
think it's disrespectful too. Okay, I agree. Okay, how to control your thoughts?
Oh, you got to do mindset work.
Uh-huh.
Got to do mindset work. You got to start breaking patterns in your mind, you know?
Okay.
You have to see what your trigger points are and you start breaking them. Like one example I can give you fast is when people go in front of the mirror and they say, "Oh, I look so ugly and I look so fat today," and they leave the house like that, right?
Okay.
No, don't do that. Go back in front of the mirror and say, "Okay, I've gained some weight during
Yeah.
COVID. I don't feel pretty today, but I'm working out. I'm eating well. I'll feel better soon." Like it's
Yeah.
so much better to leave the house on that note rather than "I'm ugly, I'm fat," and close the door and leave. Like all day you're going to feel like this heavy energy on you, you know? So that's a pattern break right there.
Okay, fair enough. That's good. Now you work with a lot of profession and all. There are always a very challenging situation. So the question is, how to handle stressful situation?
How to handle stress? Well, first you got to do mindset work, right? You got to work on your triggers. You have to make sure that you're getting good sleep. I think sleep is very important for professionals when it comes to having a high role job as well.
Yeah.
And give up your obsession with control. Like control what you can. Yeah. Don't obsess about what you can't control, because it doesn't matter how much you obsess about it. You can't control it.
So true. So true. I agree that professional people out there, I know. Great. Now, how to reclaim energy and romance?
Oh, wow.
Because now a lot of people, especially after work, you have to go back home and meet your spouse and partners. So how to reclaim energy and romance?
Yeah, I think you got it's all about having a well-balanced life. You know, when you're done at work, leave work at work.
I like that. I love that.
Like don't bring the issues of work to home, and don't bring the issues of home to work. Have limits and boundaries, right?
Yeah, I agree. And in my coaching consulting, I tell spouse, especially I have clients, I said, you set a rule that when you come back from work, yes, it's going to be questions. So you set a rule, first 30 minutes, you talk, or 15 minutes, talk about your work. Okay, sweetheart, this is what happens. See, this is what happened. This is what manager said, the boss said, this is what employee said and all. And set a boundary. After 20 minutes, 30 minutes, you don't talk about that. Then you have your personal evening, your personal life. And I think that really works well for a lot of professionals out there.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Thanks. Now, what is the best advice you have ever received?
It's funny that you say that. I think it's exactly about the previous question. I remember my dad told me, so this is more work related. I remember my dad told me that when you're at work, you're on stage. So lights are on, eyes are on you, you know, you perform, right?
Yeah, like that.
And so it was so powerful for me always working, because when I worked in, you know, more like corporate world and 9 to 5 and things like that, it was very true, because I had learned to leave my problems at the door. I couldn't go to work and start crying because like my boyfriend broke up with me, for example, or because my dog is sick. Or I'm not saying those things are not okay. Of course, you're human, but I think it's just there's always going to be problems in our personal life. We can't always take it to work. So that was one of my favorite advice.
That was
like focus. That was a really good. I love that one too.
I love that. Thanks for sharing that. The you are on the stage. Your dad said that. It's so true. I usually said when you work. When you play. Don't mix the two.
Yes.
So it's and work is a serious business. So pay attention, put your head in hard, and you get it done.
Yes.
Love it. Now, what is the worst advice you have ever received?
Fake it till you make it. The worst. The worst. I don't like that advice. I think it's like put a band-aid on the problem.
Oh, okay. I know. All right. Well, fair enough. Okay. In business, do you believe safety or risk?
Risk.
Okay. All right. This is something apart from that. Now, what Mother Earth means to you?
Oh, that's a tough one. Mother Earth.
Because we all live on this only one beautiful planet.
I truly believe we are all one. So, I really believe in oneness.
Yeah.
I think we're all one. Yes, we're in, different countries and different race and different faces and different bodies, but I truly believe we're all one. So I live my life in a way to have compassion and love like I have for myself, for others.
Nice. Beautiful. That's great. Now, you being a coach, here's one of the strangest question I'm going to ask.
Okay.
What best prescription for romantic life and a happy lifestyle?
I don't know if I'm the best person to ask, because I'm like, my romantic life, I don't know if I should.
Well,
like, if I had mastered it, you know what I think? I'll say from experience.
Okay.
Not from a coach. I'll say from experience. I think it is so important to find someone and be with someone who keeps you engaged and you look up to and makes you strive for better and for bigger, and doesn't put roadblocks in front of you.
I love that. No barriers and all. Always encouraging, empowering.
Always making you grow. And I think it's so important to look up to your partner.
Okay, that's good to know. Imagine if God makes you a man for a day, what will you do more of and less of?
If God makes me man for a day, I would. Ooh, I know.
Okay.
I would be less hard on myself and more loving to myself. Because I work with a lot of men, and men are very hard on themselves, and that's what I would do.
Wow, what a profound answer. It matched the bills actually with your experience. All the men out there, Bibi's best answer. Okay, that's good. Okay, now you being a wonderful coach, what is the most important, personal development or professional development?
Personal. Without personal development, you're nothing.
Okay, I strongly agree on that. That's the backbone of all the
everything
individual achievements. I strongly agree.
Yes.
Okay. What kind of sound or a voice do you love to listen?
Oh, I like rain, but I also love to listen to birds early in the morning.
Oh my God, same here with me.
Yeah,
I will probably sleep with the birds and
oh my God, it's just so beautiful. And I love the sound of water. You know, like a waterfall, or you know how some people have these like things in their patio that like the water just keeps going, and I love that too. Yeah.
Fountain. Yeah, that's good. I love that too as well. Thank you. So creative. Yeah. Now, if you would be born again, what profession would you choose?
Anxiety coach.
Wow. High five. You're so passionate about it. I love it.
Yeah, it's everything to me.
Okay, what is your favorite book name?
The Untethered Soul by Michael A. Singer.
And
It's
you
the
have
name of my business. And you have a copy.
of that. You have gifted me that. You have.
Yes, I have.
I still have that, and I'm so thankful for that. And I like that one of the chapters says, "Remove the thorn or suffer."
Yeah.
Yeah. Either
Such a
you
good
remove
book.
it. It's either you remove it or you suffer it. Now,
Yeah.
you tell me. Next question is, why did you choose your company name, The Inner Roommate?
Because it's the second chapter of The Untethered Soul.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
also, I think it's so powerful because everything is about our inner voice.
Yes.
You know, our inner voice can be our best friend or it can be our absolute enemy.
So true.
But the inner voice is not our voice, where everyone thinks your inner voice is you. No, it's your inner roommate. It's not you.
Good. Next question related to that.
Mm.
So who is your inner roommate?
My inner roommate now is my absolute best friend.
Okay.
We're one. We're amazing together, me and my inner roommate. But I had to do the work. She was my worst enemy. My God. Now we're best friends.
My best friends. I like that. And I hope and I wish for everyone should become their best friend too.
Yes. Do the work and
Do the
get
work
to
and
being
do it.
best friends with your inner roommate for
Good.
sure.
So what do you do when you are more happy?
Smile more, dance more.
I love that. People who dance cannot be boring at all.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, good.
Laugh more.
Laugh more. Good. Okay. What do you do when you're unhappy?
I journal.
Yeah.
It's very important to me to journal. I do self-care.
Nice.
I also, practice self-nurturing myself.
Yeah.
Being compassionate with myself. And I think those are my favorite things. Yeah. And I do something that makes me happy. Like if it's like, I don't know, like if I want ice cream or if I want to take a bath or something that makes me feel good in the moment. And I always remind myself that everything in life is temporary, the good and the bad.
I love that. Yeah. Neither the pain is permanent. It
Yeah,
will go away.
exactly.
Good. Now, the pursuit of happiness is in.
A healthy mindset.
Okay, wonderful. Now, imagine, okay, if you would be the host of this show and I would be the guest of the show, what question would you ask me?
I would ask you, what has been your biggest learning and lesson in life so far?
In a personal way or professional?
The biggest one, like the mind-blowing, oh my God, this was mine.
First of all, this is a very profound question you asked me. And the biggest life learning experience was to realize that I have no fear of death and bankruptcy because my mom committed suicide when I was 3.5 years old and lost that wonderful person on planet Earth, the one who she gave me birth. And since when I was growing up, and I have no idea, that what her voice would be. She would have called my name and say, okay, Happy, did you eat the food? Or where are you this morning and all? So I have no clue about that till today. And that incident is a very beautiful incident so far for me because that has taken away all my fear of bankruptcy and also death, and especially the fear of loss of loved one. So that is the biggest lesson. So since childhood, I have been so courageously so strong on my own. I never indulged into drugs and gangster lives or anything, and that was the biggest lesson that I lead my life the way I wanted to lead, and that incident has taken me where I am today. And I'm so proud of that. That's my biggest learning lesson in my life. That when I was growing, when I realized when I was 8, 9, and 10, then I realized oh, where is my mom? At that time, when you grow that child, 3-year-old child doesn't know whether I have a mom or not. when I was growing up, and I know there is no mom, you're going to live the rest of your life without mom. So I started loving all my friends and beloved ones, mom and all. But that was my biggest learning lesson. I said, you cannot have two or three mom. You can have two dads and whatever, but not mom, the one who conceived you with her hardship and pain for 9 months, and she got you on planet Mother Earth, and she's gone. So that was my biggest learnings when I realized I was in my senses. That I fearless in that. And
Yeah, I think that's beautiful. Well, first of all, I'm sorry for your loss.
no, it's okay.
That's I'm sure, I can't imagine it must have been hard, but I also really believe that, as you were saying, I can tell, like I can feel energetically that your mom's been with you the whole way.
Indeed, her
You know?
blessings are always
Yeah.
with me. Her shadow is not like
Yeah.
an umbrella. Wherever I walk, I always see a feather. I think she's there, right there.
Yeah. No, I totally believe that. That's beautiful. Well,
Yeah,
thanks for sharing that.
my pleasure. And this is my biggest life lesson learning. And I think all the lesson which I've learned in professional losses and lost my job, or they fire me or I fire them and all, it's just temporary. So
Yes.
in one of the interviews, they asked me, what is the biggest lesson you've learned too? It's similar kind of question. I said, my life is this is I'm enjoying the journey on planet Earth.
Mm.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's good. Yeah,
Exactly. It's a journey.
so on planet Earth. Thank you. Well, that was a great question. I took a little long, but coming back to you again now, what is your favorite word or a quote?
My favorite quote is, you think you're holding on to grudge, but the grudge is actually holding on to you.
Woo, I love that. Can you say it again, please?
You think you're holding on to grudge, but the grudge is actually holding on to you.
Oh, that's so powerful. That's so powerful.
Yeah, I love that one. It's so true,
So true. So true. I agree on that. Yeah. Now, here's the last question of the show, and we will wrap up. And what is your message for the beautiful people of the world?
Heal. One word.
Heal. Heal the
Yeah,
world.
no, I think my message for people in the world is, first of all, it would be, life is not that serious, so don't make it so serious. I
Okay.
think a lot of people take life too seriously. I think it would also be, if you're having issues around something, go for it, like work on it, heal from it. When they say, are you living your best life? Most people will say no, right? And why aren't they? Because they have these roadblocks and limits around themselves that they've created and they're not going after. But once you heal and move forward from all these little limits in your life,
Yeah.
you do reach the place that you actually will live your best life. And I think if you can live your life and say, I lived my best life,
That's the way it is.
it
Yeah.
made it worth it being here, right?
True. So true. Yeah, I agree on that. And that's a very powerful message you have given. Heal and live the way you wanted to live the life and lead the life. Don't take life seriously. Wow, what a wonderful answer and all. Well, thanks so much, Bibi. And you're being a wonderful friend and a coach for the world as well as anxiety.
Thank you.
You have already healed so many people already out there. And we are very, very proud of you, what you're doing to the world.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, it was an honor and a pleasure to have you on the show. And thanks to the wonderful audience, the beautiful people of the world.
Yes.
You've been very supportive and given us the time. The Happy Conversation Idea Show, where you can witness thoughts, ideas, and stories of happiest people like Bibi and make the world a better place for you and I, because it's possible. Take care. Thank you.
Bye.